Hello everyone, this is Mappa. This is a redstone tutorial, sort of, and this is my monostable circuits and timing circuits. So if you look behind me, now this was actually inspired by a comment on my pumpkin farm tutorial by Dylan Wenger. I hope I said your name right. Name should be on the screen at the moment, so I spelled that right at least. But he asked how to hook up the timer with the pumpkin farm so that the cart would go off every certain amount of ticks. And if you want to see that tutorial so that you get a better understanding of what he's talking about, link to that will be in the description. But this is kind of for that, but it also evolved into a more kind of elaborated explanation on some timing circuits I use as well as monostable circuits, and then how to combine those two to hook it up to the pumpkin farm. So we'll start with the timer on my left. This one is designed by Etho. Again, link in the description. And this is very common, and this is one I use a lot. And one of the main reasons for that is because this thing can be changed really quite easily by putting these pistons and redstone block on top of the hoppers, and then that redstone dust there on top of that block back there, and you see it just flipped, and that is actually how the timing circuit toggles. And so that just helps make it more compact and a little bit more versatile as to where you can use it, whereas the one on the right is quite a bit bigger. However, it has its own advantages to that, and we'll get to that in just a minute here. But in these hoppers, there are items, and then they flow into each other once. So when there's an item in a hopper, of course, it activates the comparator. So both are activated at this time because there's items in both. However, there was some, now I'm going to probably mess this up, but when it flips, one of them gets emptied quick, and so that comparator turns off. And while the other one's on, then the piston extends, and then that one turns on again, but since the other piston is extended, this cannot actually activate. So right here, even though this piston is getting powered, you cannot go anywhere until that one is off and retracted. And so, yeah, very simple how it works, and the output can come from anywhere along that redstone block. You could potentially come out of this block back here as well, depending on what kind of timing you need, but you probably most commonly find it coming from this redstone block here. So then we move to the right, and this one is by Seth Bling, and again, link in the description. Now, I can't remember a whole lot of times I've used this. I have used it very occasionally, but this one has twice the timing as this one because it has twice the hoppers, which means twice the items, or at least twice the item flow. So what happens here, and we'll use this side for demonstration since this is the one that is activated, there's items in here which activate this comparator, which then pass the signal into the block and the redstone dust and to the repeater to power the next hopper, which means that it can't actually pass items into the next one until this one is unpowered. And this one gets unpowered when all these items empty out. So then it just keeps cycling around. And so then on here, your output can come from really anywhere that has redstone dust or a block. So this side, or any of the other three sides, as well as the block or any of the other three blocks. So, like I said, this one's got its advantages because it can hold more time, and this one has its advantages in being smaller and just a little bit more versatile on how you can actually use it. Then you come along the back here. This is almost exclusively the only monostable circuit that I ever use. And I'm going to get out of theater mode here so I can actually click the button because I don't know where I'd be going otherwise. And if you hit this button, now I'm not sure how well the recording picked that up, but watch that repeater. If you hit that button, you'll see it does blink, and how this works is that this redstone dust activates, which activates this block here, or powers this block, and then the repeater senses the signal from that. What it also does is from this dust activates the piston below it, and that pushes up the sand, which then takes away the power to that redstone repeater, and it turns off. And of course that all happens in an instant. It just takes me a while to explain it. So if you combine these two, because that's often how you will see it, you'll see a timer with a monostable circuit to just get a pulse every certain amount of ticks. And you get this. And that was some quite perfect timing there. But this rail is kind of a pseudo rail, or a pseudo kind of, I don't even know what you call it, like a model for my pumpkin farm. So it uses the cart activating. So this would be the block that you would activate with the timer. And I just used this timer here. You could really use either one. It depends on what timing you like and how often you want the blocks to actually power, or the rail rather to power. And so how this works is that this will flip over, and like I said, the redstone dust or the redstone output will come from this redstone block here, activates this same monostable circuit that you saw over there. And however, since you're powering a block to get a rail moving, you're going to want a little bit more time, so this repeater just set up to 4 ticks, and then it powers this block, and this rail will get sent off. So when this comes back in just a few ticks, you'll see that it gets sent off and then it comes right back. And so of course that would go, a lot further for an actual pumpkin farm. And then you have the items over here. So again, check that in the description, the tutorial, so that you can see just what I'm talking about. Maybe this doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you, but that is about how you would do it. You could probably make this a lot smaller. I just did it this way for demonstration purposes so you can clearly see what is going on, but I hope you enjoyed this partially redstone tutorial. And anyway, this has been MopBot, and I'm out.